Hello, boys. Hello, girls. You're now watching Peter's Raw Recap. A Raw recap that consisted of one thing and one thing only, and that is the subject of the retirement of Daniel Bryan. How they were going to go about this, I think no one knew. We got hit with a tweet around 2 o'clock saying the retirement that basically it wasn't even a work, it was a straight shoot. That Daniel Bryan, he's been having trouble getting cleared by the WWE to get back into the ring, but he's been cleared by other physicians, other doctors outside of the WWE, and the only thing that matters is really the WWE's opinion, regardless of what other opportunities could arise. If Daniel Bryan's smart, say before he even announced that he was retiring, if he was smart, he would just go ahead and bow out, call it a career. You look at what's happening in NFL and CTEs and all that shit. Your love for the sport of wrestling shouldn't kill you. You want to do things that you love, and you want to do things you love to the grave, but you don't want to go down that dirt road of bullshit. And when you talk about CTEs, you talk about concussions and headaches and things of that nature. You gotta be smart. And today he was very smart, and he announced his retirement on Twitter, and then they basically had this show, this show on Raw, that was in Seattle, Washington, dedicated to the legacy of Daniel Bryan, and giving him, the heroes bow in his home state. There could be some conspiracy theories around this, being again that he had been cleared by other physicians. The fact that we wanted to see him wrestle again. That's selfish stuff too, but with the lawsuits and all this shit that's been going on with concussions and even in the WWE and stuff, the WWE had to play it smart. You got, when you got someone, especially to the level of Daniel Bryan, the work shoot of his character was that he didn't fit the mold, and he was subsequently, kicking and screaming. The WWE put him to the top. And right now, they're pushing Roman Reigns. And there's no space for someone like Daniel Bryan when someone like Roman Reigns is getting such a big push. Because you don't need the crowd turning on the guy that you want going, especially if he's injury prone. So maybe he was forced to retire. Maybe he was put in a room and said, "Hey, look, Bryan, when your home state, it's time for you to just say, call it a career, and we'll give you a hero's farewell." And I think that's what it was. I would almost guess that was the latter. You could talk about it so many different ways. I don't want to sound like a cynic, and I don't want to sound skeptical. But I really believe. Like I said, he was smart about it. But maybe he had more fight in him. Maybe he had a little more, had some more matches in him. And I think he hates having to stop. Even at the end, he kind of walks off. He hugs McMahon, and you could tell it was kind of like it was a really cold hug. But we'll get to that. I want to talk about Raw in Seattle, and plus, by the way, it's been a crazy couple of days for me. And anyone who's been keeping up with the PJTW Central content, I've been kind of lacking. And it's not because of anything that I've decided to do. It's that I've made myself a hella more busy with the T-shirts and stuff that I'm doing now. I just printed up some T-shirts and went down to Charlotte this weekend. Actually, this entire week revolved around trying to promote and move my T-shirts. So the New Day podcast has been on hiatus. Peter Talks Sports has been on hiatus. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, I've been able to do that. Being that it's the flagship, I want to be able to do those. And last Thursday Night SmackDown didn't get a review because last second changes in the schedule and me not being able to actually upload it. The podcast is done. Like last week's review is done. It's very much like this in the dark, just so I could get the audio up. And maybe Peter Talks SmackDown next week will probably be the 2 episodes back to back. And my regular setup isn't up either because I had to move my table. Oh man, so many things. But you're getting the raw. You definitely get the raw video this time around. And if you're watching, thank you so much for your patience. I apologize again for the missing content. Hopefully after this week, because even today was a New Day podcast I had to miss because I was returning from Charlotte and I was dead tired. Last night was crazy. Yeah, so with that said, let's go into Raw. We get the Daniel Bryan intro, being that he addressed the fact that he was retiring today. And the first 17-minute segment was Steph, and she was out there to do the contract signing, which I felt was weird because normally the contract signings are at the end of the show or in the middle of the show, but mostly at the end of the show. I guess because Brock had to get the fuck out of there, they decided to do it first, which I thought honestly was the best thing to do. You want to get the crowd. You want to get the crowd engaged into your show almost immediately. When you go out there and cut those 15-minute, 20-minute promos, it's like it wears thin on you. I mean, just last SmackDown, they started with a match, and they've done it on Raw before, and it's so refreshing. And a contract signing with your 3 biggest players in your company, your Brock Lesnar, your Roman Reigns, and your Dean Ambrose. They're out there from the beginning, and they're signing a contract, and you get a scuffle, and and it's like, even though it was 17 minutes. 15, 17 minutes, it didn't seem overwhelming because the dialogue was spread throughout. We get like some scuffling. We ignite the storyline that's going into Fastlane for the triple threat between Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Dean Ambrose. There's a couple of things going on here. You got the dissension between. They're trying to set up the dissension between Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose again, but this one has a little more gasoline poured on it. From last Thursday Night SmackDown, you had Dean Ambrose being pretty reckless and taking out Roman Reigns and almost taking him out twice. And then here it's at the beginning of the show when Ambrose comes out interrupting Stephanie McMahon. Roman Reigns comes out, and Stephanie's like, hey, just notice every time you're in the spotlight, Roman Reigns comes and gets attention. So they're really, really pushing the envelope on the idea that there may be a breakup. I still think it would be pretty dumb. I mean, both these guys are bona fide superstars, so why would you break them up? And again, normally when you break up a duo, one person's headed one way, ascending, and another person basically getting fired or pushed so far down the card that it's not even funny. But that's not the case with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. So I hope they're smart about this. I hope they do not turn either of them. If anything, I hope it's a situation where they are competitive. Like they're like, okay, man, we have to go. I have to be over here. You have to be over there. And what we're going to do is be as competitive towards one another as possible. Because you look at brothers, you look at all your friends. If you're friends with someone, you're competing against them all the time against the silliest shit, whether it's fucking video games, one-on-one basketball matchups, kickball, flag football, fucking frisbee, golf. You want to beat the fuck out of your friend. You always want to have those bragging rights. So they can actually do this in a means to where Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose are just competitive, because that's what bros do. We want to kick each other's asses and everything and talk shit about it. So I hope that's the way they go, rather than do this whole dissension storyline. And I know I've been talking about this opening segment a little longer than I need to. But, sorry, I gotta plug this fucking phone in. I've been charging this phone all fucking weekend. Alright. So, whatever. It ends with them all signing the contract, right? And then Stephanie got the fuck out of there, right? She's just like, alright, my job here is done. Peace. Because the whole idea was that there's no physicality during the contract signing. But I guess after the contract signing, you could know what the fuck you want. So that's what happened. Stephanie bounced. And Ambrose, who was still upset about last week and Brock Lesnar giving him an F5 after Ambrose actually showed him respect by stepping out and just tell him how he felt. I guess it's sort of weird, but he just walks around the table, gets up in his face, and Brock is like, "What?" He fucking just grabs him, tosses him into Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns goes flying. Then Brock Lesnar took the table, throws it on Roman Reigns, and then he F5s Dean Ambrose yet again. And then they step off. And Triple H steps out. And he's on the ramp watching as Brock Lesnar walks up the ramp. And he's looking at Ambrose and he's looking at Roman Reigns still in the ring. It's like, yes, y'all want me for WrestleMania. So during the night, between each segment, they were doing this thing called hashtag Thank You Daniel Bryan, which was it was set up to where you find out periods of his career and his accolades and things of that nature. So the first Thank You Daniel Bryan was his debut on NXT against Y2J in a hard-fought, very Cena-esque debut match against a veteran in Y2J and losing. Barely. He taps out, but we found out that this kid is going to be somebody to deal with moving forward. We get Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns in the back, and they're reeling from what had just happened. And Ambrose is like, fuck this. Before this night is done, I'm going to get Brock Lesnar. That's how that went. Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, a feud I still think it's stupid. I mean, between Kalisto and this and what they're doing with Charlotte Flair, they are in some weird waters, man, trying to make sense of this. Because again, Dolph Ziggler was in his I pissed in someone's cereal mode and was getting probably the shit in of every stick over the last couple of months. And when Ambrose and Kevin Owens was facing each other over the Intercontinental belt, Dolph Ziggler got involved, right? And he treated Dolph Ziggler like an ugly stepchild, right? Beat the shit out of him. I think he has like 3 victories over him. And now all of a sudden Dolph Ziggler is getting victories over Kevin Owens, and I just go like, wait a minute, man. Before you start doing shit like this, there's a lot of Dolph Ziggler fans out there. I'm not the biggest Dolph Ziggler fan, but I do respect the kid. If you're going to have that guy do job after job after job after job after job after job, Kevin Owens somebody y'all give him a serious rub to, you know? If all of a sudden, after being treated like a fucking ugly stepchild, just being Dolph Ziggler, And you're going back into a feud who, yeah, I mean, you're going back to a feud where you get the upper hand. I'd like to know what happened between now and then. I mean, between then and now. How are you now getting the upper hand? What was the path that was taken to all of a fucking sudden, a guy that was just tossing your ass around like you were an afterthought, now all of a sudden you're getting victories, right? And this victory is sort of stupid because he puts his leg on the rope. And I go like, what are you doing? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. You know, look at me, Mr. Mark, Mr. Cynic, Mr. fucking, oh, the ways of wrestling. But like, you know, once you think about it, man, I'm not fucking Jim Cornette. I'm just saying in general, there's fundamentals to this crap. And this blurred line between like heel and fucking face, and heels getting pops for doing devious shit, and baby faces doing things like fucking suspect to get wins, like grabbing the tights and all that crap. That shit blows my mind. That shit pisses me off. I'm not trying to see a baby face grab tights, fucking poke eyes out. I don't want to see them turn and try to go after someone's valet. I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see, and heaven forbid, do I want to see a face get a win by cheating, by putting his legs on the ropes? I don't want to see that. As a fan, as a wrestling fan, why do I want to see that? Who fucking said that this was going to be the motherfucking way that this match ended? Had that motherfucker not been watching wrestling ever? You know? Or anytime you see a babyface grab the tights? Because Dolph Ziggler's good for that. He's actually done that several times where he'll win by grabbing the tights. And people are cheering him. He's a babyface, but he's doing dastardly fucking things to get the victory. What's up with the fucking heel? How can the heel get his heat? How can Kevin Owens get his heat? Are we going to see a double turn? I think we're going to see a double turn. That's the only way this is going to make any sense moving forward. It's going to be a goddamn double turn. Because after Kevin Owens came out of that fucking IC belt last man standing match during the Royal Rumble, fighting spirit, dragging one leg, holding one arm, going in and still kicking ass, while Roman Reigns is in the back for fucking 25 minutes. Like this guy, that one moment alone was enough to say, hey man, it's time for this guy to get a turn, you know, still a badass, but you get a badass turn, you know. People cheer him because he's he does have the fighting spirit, rather than run Owens run. But anyway, they better clean this up. The next thank you Daniel Bryan spot was Daniel Bryan beating The Miz and winning the U.S. Championship. In a segment in the backstage, we got the Usos prepare. Well, it was kind of weird. He was drawing the image on Jay's face. Well, anyway, it was just an awkward moment. But then in steps the Dudleys, and they're like, "Yo, that is our match, the tables match." Because we found out earlier that the Usos have a tables match against the New Day. And the Dudley Boys just want in on the action. They come to the agreement that if it's passed by the Authority, that it would become an 8-man tag, Dudleys, Usos versus the New Day and a partner of their choosing. We get a Ryback vignette. And I was like, yay, Ryback vignette. Because last Thursday, that motherfucker came out in a new look. You know, he dropped the onesie, man. He got the black trunks, right? The big guy on his ass. Black trunks. And I remember talking about this in a way where it's like, oh, about Thursday, in the review, the hidden tape that you will hear this week. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to post Friday, and then Saturday I'll post the more recent review of SmackDown rather than having them back to back. Well, anyway, he has this new look, and it works. And what I was worried about, what I was about to say is, I hope he doesn't get the Goldberg treatment. Because, he had already established himself to where they stopped doing the Goldberg chants. I guess he felt that it was comfortable, maybe with the coast is clear, that he could actually like slide in a change a little bit, get black trunks, mixture between Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin. All he needed was a knee brace. Well, anyway, the crowd turned on him in this match. I mean, later on, but like I'm just saying, like they gave him a vignette. And I'm thinking okay, here's something cool for him. To get a vignette, new look, new attitude. The vignette. It was for nothing. Charlotte versus Fox. Alicia Fox. Which was a SmackDown rematch. They do that shit all the time on SmackDown. They cut that out. They'll have a match happen on SmackDown as a run through, as a dress rehearsal for something for Raw. And that's what this match was. The thing about SmackDown is Alicia Fox did not beat Charlotte. But that Monday, Brie Bella beat Charlotte. So I'm thinking, just give Alicia Fox the win. If you're going to go down this rabbit hole to show this story between Charlotte and Rick, that he's interfering and costing her matches, you're going to give Brie the victory, give a homegirl the victory. Alicia Fox, they did not do that last Thursday. Alicia Fox looks like a fucking chump. I hate that. To Brie Bella, I mean, who I think, if there was a power ranking, I would place Alicia Fox ahead of Brie Bella. No doubt about that, but she's doing the job. And here, amongst We Want Sasha chants, Alicia Fox loses again to the figure eight. We get the Miz TV, which became, and he's out there and he's basically, so check this out. So on SmackDown, and I remember seeing this, I was like, man, he must have been chewing some gum. But doing this match with AJ knocked the fucking teeth out of his mouth. He really did. I thought it was just like gum, because I remember seeing shit fly from his mouth. But man, he actually knocked fucking teeth out. So you see the Miz in the back checking out his teeth before he goes out to do Miz TV, and then they bring it up. But anyway, he shoots on the idea of AJ Styles knocking out his teeth. And then he shoots on Styles about how he's a country redneck rookie. Man, I hate that shit. I hate it. I hate this. Redneck rookie. A, we haven't heard AJ talk to where we're like, man, that guy's Southern. And B, he's not a rookie. He's a rookie in the WWE, and I can understand that. If you're in the minor leagues, you come up to the majors, you're considered a rookie. But, wrestling isn't baseball. Wrestling isn't basketball. Wrestling isn't football. Wrestling is wrestling. Yes, you have the big leagues. You have your WWE, you have your TNA, your ROH, your New Japan. You have those. I get it. But that's part of your experience to get to the WWE. You've been wrestling the whole time. So they've made more of a deal to talk about the people coming to the WWE and how many years they've been in the business. So it's the same with this here, which could, like they do everyone else, but they're calling him a redneck rookie. And again, like there's nothing in his gimmick without hearing him talk that screams that he's a redneck. There's nothing in his music, nothing in his fucking gear, nothing in his fighting style. Why they're labeling him a redneck rookie is beyond me. It doesn't need to be said. He needs to, in that case, just come out in fucking cowboy boots, a motherfucking 10-gallon hat, and a wife beater, and fucking just go deliverance on the motherfucker, man. Until then, he looks pretty fucking cool. And he fights pretty fucking cool. It does not scream redneck. But WWE, they can't help themselves. So he talks about Y2J. Y2J comes out. Miz TV becomes the highlight reel. And then they go back and forth to where they're both talking about AJ Styles. And what happens here? AJ Styles comes out. And, because, this Thursday, we will have the rematch. We have Y2J versus AJ Part 2 on SmackDown. And he's talking about that. But then AJ comes out, right? His music hits. He's super over with the crowd. And he's standing on the ramp. And with that distraction as both Y2J and The Miz look on, The Miz attacks Jericho from the back. AJ runs into the ring. Both Jericho and AJ Styles throw The Miz out. And then they stare at each other. Miz goes back into the ring. And then they throw his ass out again. And then they stare down again. And AJ and Y2J start throwing blows at each other. And then Miz wants to get involved again. So when he's tossed, I think it's Jericho is tossed into the ropes. The Miz grabs his feet, drags him outside. And then Jericho's like, what the fuck, bro? And he just like just tosses his ass over the announce desk. And then that's it. And that's the segment. As Jericho stands outside and AJ stares at him from inside the ring. And that was their moment before their match this next SmackDown. I didn't think they were going to go this early with another match between the two of them. I love it nevertheless, but they could have waited and had something very fun for this. They could have done the pre-show for Fastlane, or maybe gave them the opening match. But maybe there will be a third. Maybe Chris Jericho, which I think would be a bad thing to do, is to get his win back and then have the rubber match at Fastlane. I hope they don't do that. I hope it ends with the Miz involvement and it's a no contest. How many fucking triple threats can you put on one fucking pay-per-view? But if the Miz is going to be involved in say the outcome of Thursday's match, then yeah, I see a triple threat. I see another triple threat for the pay-per-view Fastlane, other than the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose match. It's a magic number. The next segment, thank you Daniel Bryan, hashtag thank you Daniel Bryan, is Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank in 2011 and cashing it in. I think who the fuck does he cash that shit in? I think he cashed that shit on Big Show. We get Bray Wyatt and the family versus Goldberg. No, it's not Goldberg. It's Ryback. The new and improved Ryback. Again, I was just saying, on SmackDown, he changed his entire appearance. He got rid of the onesie, threw on the black trunks, and man, did Seattle let him have it. They let his ass have it. And it's like, God damn it. And it was something I was hoping wouldn't happen on the SmackDown review that I gave. You will hear that fucking review. You'll hear me talk about this. That, man, they're going to turn on him and start calling him Goldberg. He felt comfortable to pull in the black trunks. Maybe he thought he was in the clear. He wasn't. He's just reignited. But the sad thing is, I'm glad he got rid of that fucking onesie. Him in the fucking black trunks, he looks like $1 million. And plus, during this match he has with Bray Wyatt, they're putting over JBL and Michael Cole and Baron Saxton. They're putting over how he's actually been involved in evolving his fighting, doing different things. And that's something I think he's doing because he's working so hard. He wants to be the number one guy. Everyone wants to be the number one guy, but he wants to get up there, and he wants to show that he's trying. He's trying new things. He's changing up the gimmick. He's not becoming stale. He wants the approval, to get that brass ring. But it's to no avail, because as much as offense he got in this match, which was, I guess, pretty cool, and it was a pretty decent match, right when he's about to meet Hook, Bray Wyatt, they gave him a fucking vignette before this match, right? He goes for the meat hook, and Bray Wyatt just catches his ass and give him a Sister Abigail out of nowhere. Instant babyface crap right there. I was like, oh, fuck. Right? And Ryback goes down for the count. 1, 2, 3. A guy that's doing any and everything possible to change up his gimmick and just want to get over. He takes 5 steps forward, he takes 10 steps back. That's the way I see it. 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. He's doing everything for nothing. It sucks for him, man, because he's a really good guy. And I think he really wants to be over. He wants the powers that be, the people in the back, to just look at him. Look at his physique. Just look at his passion. Look at what he's willing to do to just get over. And then you just say, fuck you. I don't think Ryback, and there's not a burial. I'm not saying burial or anything like that. I'm just saying, I think the WWE is in a weird situation with him, to where everything about him is perfect, but like in this new day and age and the new type of fan, they don't know what to do with him anymore. They don't know what to do with like big guys like him anymore. Before, they knew exactly what to do. When he got his first big push, they kept making him lose in the big matches. Even then, they didn't know what to fucking do with him. Meanwhile, they're giving CM Punk a fucking push. They're giving Zack Ryder a fucking push. They're giving goddamn Daniel Bryan a push. They're giving all these guys a push. And by the way, Daniel Bryan does not have a win over Ryback. Ryback has never been defeated by Daniel Bryan, by the way. I thought they were going to return to that at some point, because that's when Ryback was getting a D push. But they're pushing all these little dudes, these sort of unorthodox or like, you know, wrestlers, and you got this guy, and they never gave him the right push. So we'll see moving forward. But after the match, I think you catch that Abigail out of nowhere, where the rest of the Wyatt families put their finish on him, and he lays dead in the ring as Bray Wyatt cuts another Mikeless promo. And I think that's the way they're going with him right now. After everything, he's just gonna go into the fucking aisle, you know, go up to the ramp, and he's just gonna talk without a microphone and in gibberish. The next thank you Daniel Bryan was his stint in Team Hell No. We get a New Day in the bag. They're acting like idiots, and we're young, and they're addressing the fact that the Dudleys are teaming up with the Usos, and that they were going to have to face them in an 8-man tag, and they were like, well, fuck, we don't have a 4th person, and blah, 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 blah. Waste of time. Alright, we get Ambrose and Reigns, and they're still pretty pissed. And Ambrose like, dude, I'm going to kick his ass, man. I'm going to get him. And Reigns is like, I want him too. Let's do this. And Ambrose is like, no, bro. I love you, but I got to do this alone. And he walks off. The next thank you Daniel Bryan segment is his match at SummerSlam against John Cena, where he wins the belt, wins the WWE, gets his first title, first wins the title for a short period of time. They don't go into the cash-in by Randy Orton, but he defeats John Cena for the belt at SummerSlam. And then they do a thing on black wrestlers to commemorate Black History Month. And if I say one thing, as much as the WWE gets heat, from me too, from a lot of people, how they treat their black wrestlers, the fact that there hasn't been a African American WWE heavyweight champion yet. I'll say yet. And they say The Rock, Rock is, his dad is Canadian, his mom is Samoan. Like, I'm black. R-Truth is black. Kofi Kingston is black. They are African American males. Their legacy, their heritage is of African. Rocky Johnson is Canadian, and African Canadian. Whatever. But as much as there's not been a pure black WWE World Heavyweight Champion, they sure do embrace Black History Month. They will go each week and they will do something to say, hey y'all, it is Black History Month. And I think more than any other promotion, more than any television fucking show, I think they do the most with Black History Month than anybody who has syndicated television. I'd like to believe that. And that's kudos to you, But just stop fucking around and finally, please, push a brother to get a fucking belt. Alright? And we ain't talking that world heavyweight shit. I ain't talking about that big gold. After WCW went down in flames, that big gold didn't mean anything anymore. We're talking about the WWE Heavyweight Championship belt. I guess Apollo Crews is going to be coming up soon. Well, not soon, but there's always hope. That's all I'm saying. Alright. We get the segment where Ambrose calls out Lesnar. He goes out there and he's like, you son of a bitch, get out here. And then he just insults him. Just insults him once, he insults him twice. He insults him a third time. And then Brock is like, alright, I've heard enough. Here I come. Here comes the pain. And he just beats the living shit out of Ambrose. He just beats the shit out of him. He just gets destroyed, Ambrose. But he keeps getting back up. That's the whole thing. He keeps getting back up. And he's dropped on his head with F5. And Lesnar leaves. And then you see that sick bastard get up. And he's calling Lesnar back. It's like, give me some more, give me some more. And he's doing the rope-a-dope, basically. He's getting into the head of Brock Lesnar. He give his best shots, but he's not going to take his fighting spirit. So it's a good tactic. So when Lesnar goes back into the ring to finish the job, you get a return of Roman Reigns, and you think he's coming out for the save. He's been clearly told not to interfere by Ambrose. I got to do this alone. But Ambrose uses that distraction to give Brock Lesnar the low blow. Now, I don't know what it is. Maybe that's the new gimmick now for Brock Lesnar because he's pretty fucking hard to beat. To give him the low blow, I mean, it's the most effective way to take down the average male, I tell you that. And when you got a guy like Brock Lesnar, it's not like you can do a lot of things to him to stop him. But you know what? You can hit him right in the nuts, and he's going to go down in flames. And as he gets his low blow in, and he's walking up the ramp, and he goes, I told you I'd get him. That's all he wanted. He just wanted one shot. He didn't want to beat him up. He knows it's impossible to beat him up. He just wanted to get one good lick in. We get the Lucha Dragons, the returning Sin Cara. Yay! The confetti drops and they make this huge announcement. Michael Cole is going up and JBL, oh my God, it's Sin Cara. Sin Cara's back, Michael. They don't give a fuck about Sin Cara. All of a sudden, the Lucha Dragons are back, right? And that's it. Oh yeah, Lucha Dragons. Hey, there you go. What's going on, Sin Cara? He don't even get a welcome back or nothing. They don't make a big deal of his return. Kalisto's kicking ass, taking names. He's the fucking U.S. champion. Hey, Sin Cara, what's good? Nothing. I hate when they do that, man. When someone's been gone, and then they just sort of show up, and like no one, with no anything. Just, hey, dude. Not even a welcome back. Um, and it's funny too. He comes back to the Lucha Dragons, and then they're treated like chumps by ADR and fucking Rusev. Where the fuck is Sheamus, by the way? We ain't seen Sheamus in a while. You get Wade Barrett's injured ass coming out with the League of Jobbers. But they weren't the League of Jobbers tonight. They took out fucking Lucha Dragons and the returning Sin Cara. I mean, it was definitely a convincing win. The way that ADR set his ass up in the Tree of Woe and just destroyed him and get the 3 count like it was no thing. I mean, you know how this works though. You know, you watch the show and fucking what'll probably happen is that ADR will probably lose. You know? You don't get a strong victory like that and not win or whatever, dude. We get an R-Truth Gold Dust segment. Probably the least funny one they've done so far. All of them been pretty good. And this one was like, they're in Seattle. He went to the Jimi Hendrix Memorial. And as he goes out, he sees R-Truth is dressed up as Jimi Hendrix with the guitar. Come to find out that he actually took the clothes off of whatever Jimi Hendrix statue they had it, or model or whatever wax thing in the fucking museum. And he also had his guitar. He smashes the guitar and he gets swooped up by security. Not that good of a, probably the worst of them all, but I give him an E for effort. And then man, I gotta get through the rest of this. Occupy Raw. Thank you, Daniel Bryan. We get to the part where this is in Seattle, Washington, 2 years ago, where they occupy Raw and all the fans come to the ring and Triple H grants him his match at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch versus Tamina with Sasha Banks on commentary. There's a spot where Tamina is calling out Banks at ringside. Banks gets up, she flexes, and she's met by Naomi, and Naomi just beats the living shit out of her. That comes to the attention of Becky Lynch. She runs outside, and she takes out Naomi with that Becky Plex thing that she does. She gets back into the ring, gets met with a big old super kick to the face by Tamina, who wins 1, 2, 3. They're gonna tag against one another for Fastlane. It's Tamina and Naomi versus Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, who begrudgingly has become partners. Again, why are you teaming Sasha Banks up with somebody? It's dumb. New Day versus the Dudley Boys. New Day with Mark Henry, because you find out that Mark Henry is the fourth man for the New Day, and I was like, why are they doing that? Mark Henry is definitely a face. But anyway, Lillian Garcia emphasizes that they are the Slammy winners, right? The Usos, because last week they were the Grammy winners, but now they're Slammy winners. And there's an 8-man tables match, right where there's a spot where Mark Henry kind of gets fed up with the New Day sort of telling him what to do. He gets mad and he bounces. What else we got here? A lot of chaos happens, and then, Big E gets hit with a 3D through a table. The baby faces win. They shoot over to see that you see Jay is hurt up a little bit. And then we get a Dudley Boys turn. Okay. Somebody cared that the Dudley Boys turned heel. I'm not sure what the fuck's gonna come of this. I don't think anyone really fucking cares what comes out of this. What? I mean, what do? You start a feud with the Usos, I guess, and then what? And then that's it? I don't know what you do with the Dudleys right now. You fucking turned them heel. What a dumbass decision. Oh God, what a dumbass decision. All right. Then we get a Daniel Bryant montage. Pretty good stuff. And the main event, we get to Daniel Bryant's retirement speech, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about this retirement speech, other than the fact he talks about cutting his hair and wigs for kids. He talks about what he loved about wrestling and stuff, because he gets a super long ovation. That ovation is like 5 minutes long, and he talks about. Then he talks about the elephant in the room, and that's his concussion issues. And it's funny for him to even speak out about, like they actually addressed it. Football they talk about it, but that's in sport. It's all part of injury reports and things of that nature. Wrestling doesn't have an injury report. You have injured wrestlers, but it's not like. It's not the same thing. So when you start talking about, one thing about broken arm, they hardly even talk about broken limbs. I mean, all these injuries that are happening right now with all these WWE superstars, they still kind of keep things under lock and key. They'll probably mention it, but they won't address it. And one of the biggest taboos right now, and I guess in sports, whether it's baseball, football, soccer, boxing, not so much boxing, but is concussions. And they haven't yet been outspoken about concussions being not only a problem for the WWE and for its wrestlers, but for the wrestling world. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they tackled that. He tackled that in his speech. But he talks about, he's suffered concussions before, and that he's to a point to where, even though he's been medically cleared, he doesn't say this. Again, there's going to be some conspiracy theorists behind the purpose of him stepping down, having to step down. But he talks about, again, the concussions, and that he's thinking about long term. He's thinking about having a baby, starting a family with Bree. And that's a point where Daisy goes, yes, yes, yes. And he's like, that's what she said. And then the crowd just went with that. But interesting stuff, man. They really are covering their ass with this whole concussion protocol, injury, people getting, them getting lawsuits, and even with the CM Punk case that's still ongoing. I found that to be pretty interesting. And then he gets his last ever yes in. And it's like, yes, yes. Bree comes down, kisses him. He walks out to his family. And he hugs and kisses them. Then he kind of daps up the... it goes off the air on USA. And then it shoots to the WWE Network. And it continues his last stand. And he walks over, he daps up Michael Cole, he daps up JBL, he daps up Byron Saxton, he daps up Lenny Garcia. You see that all the boys in the back are out front giving him a hand. And then he just circles around and just daps up everyone on the barricade, just dapping up all his fans in the front row and things like that. And then he makes his way around and he walks to the back, to the gorilla, where the fucking Dudley boys are standing. These guys just turned heel, and then they're out. They're fucking showing respect to Daniel Bryan. I get it, man. And I'm not nitpicking, but god damn it, man. They just turned heel before his speech. They could have just kept... I know maybe they wanted to be out there, but god damn it, man. Talk about timing. Maybe they could have done that speech before the Dudleys turned fucking heel, and then, They can look like really admirable baby faces before they fucking fuck up the Usos. Yeah, but I'm nitpicking. Oh well. But that's how the show ends, man. I'm not even gonna rate this fucking show. I'm just gonna say I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. It sucked. It sucked that Daniel Bryan's career is over. Do you think, if you're listening or if you're watching, do you think Daniel Bryan's career is over? It's work, man. I'm gonna say no. His career is not over. He'll be back. I like to think that he'll be back. I like to think that he'll be back. What do you think? Do you think it's over? Do you think this all work? Because you know, everything's a work in wrestling. I don't trust shit. I don't trust nothing as far as I can throw it when it comes to different shit. And retirements and all that. Alright, so. Yeah. Next week I'll be back in my regular setting with the microphone in front of me. But hit the subscription button below. Again, I'm going to just get through this week. I still have some more shirt business to take care of. But I'm definitely going to get through this week. There will not be a... maybe there will be. Peter Talks Sports. I'm going to talk about my Panthers losing in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was tough. Peter Jake Talks Wrestling will be this Wednesday. Peter Talks SmackDown episode, episode 49 and episode 50, Friday and Saturday. I'm gonna get up the week prior, and then I'm gonna get up this week's SmackDown, talk about that. So yeah, hit the subscription button below. Also, follow me on Twitter, Ellen Japanese, one word, that's LINJAPANESE, or PJTW Central. Comment below, man. Leave a message. Man, I'm tired, guys. I know I probably sound tired. But anyway, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. Again, subscribe, thumbs up. What else? Share. Sharing is caring. Yeah, share this motherfucker, please. Because I want people to like my stuff. And yes, I am wearing a Snap code. If you have a Snapchat, you can go to cutthemusic.etsy.com. And you can look at my Panthers shirts, my Snap code apparel, and I think my Facebook. Don't wish me happy birthday on Facebook or what have you. And if you're listening and you're from Greensboro, I also have some GSO periodic table shirts. So I'm gonna call it a night, man. I'm gonna load this motherfucker up and go to bed. Love all of you, and watch out for those foreign objects. I see you tomorrow for Peter Talks Sports.